Before we go ahead and get started, please note that we do have Spanish interpretation available for this meeting. And please look at the bottom of your Zoom application and hit the interpretation button. Even if you can hear me now, please choose your preferred language, either English or Spanish, so that you can ensure you're able to hear and participate throughout the meeting. I will now pause for a moment so that message can be relayed in Spanish as well.
Buenos días y gracias por acompañarnos hoy. Hoy tenemos servicios de interpretación. Si ven hacia el abajo de su pantalla en Zoom, van a ver un glóbulo que dice interpretación. Por favor, haga clic allí y escoja su idioma de español o inglés. Aunque vaya a escuchar en inglés, por favor, escoja el idioma porque le va a dejar escuchar la audiencia. Gracias.
Thank you. All right, good morning. This meeting of the Agricultural Labor Relations Board is now called to order. I will first call the roll. Board Member Broad? Here. Board Member Flores?
Present.
Board Member Hall?
Present.
Board Member Lightstone?
Present.
Thank you. Also present from our staff for today's meeting is our Executive Secretary, Santiago Villa-Gomez, who is providing technical support. We will start today with the open session portion, and then prior going into closed session, there will be an opportunity to provide public comment. We'll first go to those who have requested to comment in the comment queue, and then even if you did not send a request in previously, you may feel free to indicate that you wish to make a comment, and we will call on you at that time. We do have limited capabilities for managing participation during the meeting. And during the public comment periods, we ask that everyone who is not speaking to place their phones or Zoom on mute and wait to unmute until you are called to speak. These instructions are also available on our agenda, which is posted online at alrb.ca.gov, which is under the ALRB homepage. Okay, our first agenda item is to approve the meeting minutes for our most recent meeting on October 4th. First, for the public meeting, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Member Broad. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Lightstone. All those in favor say aye.
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 Next, we have to approve the meeting minutes for the Regional Directors meeting on October 4th. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Member Broad. May I have a second?
Second.
Member Lightstone beats us to the punch. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, our next agenda item is the chair's report. I have a brief report today, but I did want to have a few comments. It is October, which is Filipino Heritage Month, and we do not have a meeting next week, but on October 25th, California honors the work and contributions of Larry Itliong, a Filipino civil rights and labor activist who greatly contributed to the work of farm worker organizing and also in the development of our agency, although maybe a little bit lesser known than some of the other key figures. I found a wonderful short video that Santiago is going to queue up that has some great images from that time. It's on the final. That goes over a brief history. And with that, Santiago.
California, and became involved in the agricultural workers organization, which was attempting to form a union. He was so successful organizing farmers that committee leaders asked him to leave. On September 8, 1965, he led more than 2,000 Filipino farm workers in a labor strike in the They demanded higher wages, better working conditions, and the right to form a union.
We feel that we farm workers should have an organization of our own.
Credit where credit's due. They had blocked off the vineyard a week before, and Cesar Chavez and his National Farm Workers Association strike. lasted for 5 years and resulted in one of the most important victories in the history of American labor. Although the spotlight usually fell on Cesar Chavez, history has begun to acknowledge Larry Itliong's critical role in the struggle. Hard-charging, cigar-smoking, poker-playing, brilliant, Larry Itliong continued to be a leader in the Filipino-American community for the rest of his life, and is finally getting the recognition he earned as a founding figure in the California labor movement.
Thank you. That video is from the California Museum when Larry Itliong was inducted in 2021 into the California Hall of Fame. Next, I want to take a moment to acknowledge someone who's in the room who we don't get to see in person all the time, but who does a lot of great work here at the ALRB, Judge Mark Sobel. Judge Sobel is retiring at the end of this year, and will be honoring him later in a lunch today, but I wanted to just acknowledge him in front of all of our stakeholders, some of who may have had the chance to work with him. He's worked for the state of California for nearly 34 years. He started his state career as a student assistant in the Department of Finance in 1984. Later on, he worked at the Fair Political Practices Commission for 12 years, leaving that organization as a senior commission council supervisor. He then went on to work at the Attorney General's office, and he was working as a deputy attorney general for there, and then he has served here at the ALRB for 15 years since 2008. Mark has served with distinction and may be best known for overseeing one of the longest administrative hearings in the ALRB's history in the Garawan matter. He's known for his work ethic, serving with integrity, and as I have found, always seeking to help support the work of his teams and the ALRB. I'm truly grateful for Mark's work here and appreciate that our time at the board overlapped, albeit too briefly. Mark, we wish you a very fun and exciting retirement, a well-earned retirement, and thank you so much for all your service to the state of California, and particularly to the ALRB, where we've benefited from your hard work. So thank you very much. I'll open it up in case any of my colleagues have any other comments they'd like to share.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Isidore.
Yes, I'd like to also wish Mark Sobel a grand rising into a new world, and I wish you the best. And I know that you will continue to contribute and support and do all the great things you've done for ALRB and the other agencies. I know in your spare time, you'll continue to do that, perhaps volunteering somewhere to give some great advice and whatnot. But I certainly want to thank you for all of the contributions that ALRB, that you've allowed us to benefit from through your expertise. And again, thank you for your wise counsel. I wish you and your family the best.
Yeah, Mark, I'd also like to thank you for your assistance to me personally, obviously, as well as the rest of our board and the public. But for me, you always answered my questions, no matter how odd they might have been, and with grace and without making me feel like an idiot. And I which I probably was, but I really appreciated working with you and talking to you and getting to know you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, we look forward to feeding you later today, Mark. And with that, that concludes today's chair's report. Our next item is the Executive Secretary's report on unfair labor practices, elections, and complaints.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. And I also want to thank Mark, and I'm going to miss you quite a bit because you do so much, and I appreciate our conversations as long as they've been. You and I have spent many a minute on the phone after hours and even before the day begins, so I really appreciate how you've always made yourself available to me and to hopefully continue to do that as you go into retirement. But we can talk more about that, I'm sure, back at the office. Thank you. I'm going to probably speak a little bit louder just to make sure we have the microphone. I also want to mention that unfortunately our interpretation service failed this morning. So for anyone that's been in the Spanish channel, and I'll repeat myself here in just a moment, I'm going to be shutting down the interpretation channel for that reason. Desafortunadamente, si están escuchando en el canal que está en español para interpretación, hoy tuvimos problemas técnicos que no nos van a permitir continuar con interpretación. Si hay alguien en el canal, lo siento mucho y esperemos que para la próxima audiencia no tengamos esos problemas. A este punto voy a cerrar el canal de interpretación y todo va a ser en inglés. Okay, moving back to the report. So for this report, it'll be really short. Since our last public board meeting, we've seen one complaint withdrawn, and that was relating to Monterey Mushrooms, Inc., case numbers 2020 CE 042 SAL and 2021 CE 007 SAL. That was filed by the General Counsel. That request to withdraw the complaint on October 17th, yesterday, and it relates back to an informal unilateral settlement agreement that was entered into April 20th of this year. Moving on to the two pending matters before the board. First is National Agricultural Workers Union, and that's 2023 LPA 002, and the board is reviewing the General Counsel's report and recommendation that was issued on September 21st this year. And then second is the Bala Farms of Salinas, relating to the board's decision in 49 ALRB number 1, involving the commodity of cannabis in Monterey County. There, the regional director has requested leave to seek a court order to ensure compliance with the board's order, and that was filed on October 9th of this year. That concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Santiago. Next, we have on the agenda the litigation report. We do not have a litigation report today. We also will not be having a general counsel's report today. I'm looking to see, I don't see our chief administrative officer, so it looks like we will not be having an administrative services report or a legislation or regulations report. That takes us next to public comment. For those of you wishing to make a public comment, if you have not already indicated so in the queue, please either email Santiago or you can let us know in the chat function. Please share your name and organization if applicable. If we ask that you only use the chat function to indicate that you wish to make a comment, please do not put any substantive comments in there, as they will not be made part of the official record of today's proceedings. So I will turn it over to Santiago. Do we have anyone in the comment queue?
We do not at this moment.
Okay, we'll pause for a moment to see if anyone wishes to make a comment. Okay, not seeing anyone that wishes to make a comment, the board will now adjourn into closed session. Thank you. Good morning. The board has now returned from closed session. We are back in open sessions. Our last agenda item is announcements. We have one announcement, which is that our next board meeting will be Wednesday, November 1st at 10 a.m. And that concludes today's meeting. We are now adjourned. Thank you.